What if Jesus never meant blessed the way we've been taught to understand it? The Greek word is Makarios, and it may have much more to do with flourishing than a comfortable life. Makarios is often translated as blessed, but it can also carry this sense of fortunate, flourishing, or possessing a deep well-being. Let's look at the Beatitudes and see what Jesus was actually trying to say to us. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Think about that. Jesus places Makarios in places where we might not ordinarily expect to find blessing. Mourning doesn't feed blessing. Being persecuted doesn't feel blessed. Hunger doesn't feel blessed. Being poor in spirit doesn't necessarily feel blessed. So perhaps Jesus is changing our definition of what it means for a life to be good. Maybe blessing isn't the absence of difficulty. Maybe blessing is something that can exist within difficulty. We often measure our lives by external circumstances. How much money do I have? How successful am I? Does everybody like me? Is everything going according to plan? And when these things aren't working, we assume something has gone wrong with our lives. But Makarios suggests another possibility. Your circumstances do not have the final word about the quality of your life. You can be grieving and still live to love, and still be alive to love. You can be struggling and still be growing. You can be uncertain and still be moving towards truth. You can lose something and discover something within yourself that could not have been discovered any other way. And perhaps this is why the Beatitudes are so radical. Jesus isn't telling people to pretend that suffering is pleasant. He's not saying, don't worry about it, everything is wonderful. He's saying something much more profound. Do not mistake your present circumstances for the entirety of your existence. There is still life here. There's still love here. There's still consciousness here. There's still a path forward. There is still the possibility of becoming. That is Makarios. And perhaps this can also change how we think about our hearts. We don't have to carry the entire weight of our circumstances in order to carry a meaningful life. We can acknowledge the pain without becoming the pain. We can acknowledge the uncertainty without becoming the uncertainty. We can mourn without believing that mourning is all that remains, because blessed doesn't necessarily mean comfortable. Blessed can mean alive, awake, pleasant, and still capable of flourishing. So the next time you hear the word blessed, perhaps don't immediately think something good is going to happen to me. Think instead, there's still something good happening within me. And maybe that is what Jesus was pointing towards. Not a life without suffering, not a life without uncertainty, but a life in which the light within us is not determined by what is happening around us. That is Makarios. To be blessed is not necessarily to have an easy life. It can simply mean that even here, you are still capable of becoming whole.